Welcome to the Upstate CFO Council. This organization was founded in 2019 by Robert Bendetti in order to provide a networking and educational forum for senior financial executives to share best practices, to discuss current financial issues, and to learn about current topics related to the performance of their job.
Vince, how are you doing today?
Fantastic. Happy Friday.
I know this is awesome. Thank you for agreeing to do this. This is great. You're up in the upstate way, you're
right.
that way, and but with the gifts of technology, we can have this awesome conversation.
Excited about it.
Well, Vince Guerra is the BD and sales executive with One Digital Health and Benefits. Vince, I believe you got your undergrad in marketing from Liberty University, and your MBA from Robert Morris University.
In Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Yep.
Married with, I think, 4 kids?
That's correct. 4 kids, 3 girls and a boy.
And then active community volunteer. I saw a bunch of stuff. I'm just picking one, Children's Museum of the Upstate.
That's correct. On the board.
The things you can find on the internet. It is really amazing, honestly, what you can find on the internet. If you just sort of start searching and reviewing and, looking to try to see what you can find, like this. Vince, did you used to play football in high school?
I did. Yes, I did. Number 73 there in the front row, sitting on his butt. And I was my playing weight was 265, which is, I'm about 200, 205. So I was about 70, and off season was 275. So I was about 70 pounds heavier then. I was a big boy.
Wow, and you still got good hair. I hate you. I hate you. No more introduction. We're going straight into it. Vince, question number 1. What is your favorite business book and why?
So for this, I picked Good to Great by Jim Collins. And it's almost cliche to say it. I know a lot of people pick that. But what struck me about it when I read it, first of all, I was part owner in a benefits TPA. And so number 1 was the practicality of it. I loved how they took all of this empirical research and then just spit it out into 6 or 7 viable points that even though some of the companies went off the rails, the principles themselves they're just timeless. And so the second thing that grabbed me was just the metaphors that they used. How many times do you still hear get the right person in the right seat on the bus, and the hedgehog and flywheel and doom loop and those sorts of things. So all of those things really struck me. And like I said, we were actually able to apply those where I was working, and I still keep an outline and review it from time to time because I just think it's really good information.
It is. It's a classic, and it's come up a lot because it's good. It's a good book, and it's worth a reread. We read it 10, 20 years ago, worth a reread. Good recommendation. That was strong. Vince, question number 2. What is the best advice that you have ever received?
So one of the business owners that I used to work with, I've been in client development or developing client relationships, maintaining client relationships for over 20 years. And when I first started, it was actually the business owner, but he used to manage our team. And so he used to always look at us and say, they're not thinking about you. And so to have that in my mind where I think everybody gets up in the morning and says, I wonder what Vince is doing today and how awesome Vince is, but nobody's thinking about you. And so it just, even if you don't have a meeting set up that's on the timeline, consistently reaching out and just communicating and keeping that relationship strong with your clients, it serves a great purpose. And it's a great reminder. I think about that all the time. They're not thinking about you. So a tip of the cap to Louis Kaysen.
That's good advice too for us. That as a senior financial executive, I'm an internal consultant, and my clients are my internal customers. I got 650 internal customers, and I got 1,000 external with customers and vendors. Those people are not waking up thinking about me, but right. You're doing, I need to go out. I need to call them up, see how you're doing, an email, check in on them. That's good advice, Vince. Question number 3. All right. I'm looking for something good here. What is a habit you've recently started, or maybe a tool you've recently started using that you have found beneficial?
So I'm probably going to come in below your expectations on this one. I'm a little bit of a late adopter, and I know you're an early adopter. So I'm just going to go with Spotify. I was a YouTube guy forever. And then my wife talked me into getting on her Spotify account. And so just the podcasts, and I have a pretty varied array of music on there, whether it's 80s or in the college bands from the 80s and 90s, or piano jazz, or worship music from church. It's a wide variety. You don't have the commercials. It's really strong. And then the podcasts with the Wall Street Journal and the Economist and those sorts of things. So it's fantastic.
Piano jazz. Okay. All right. I'll put that down. You're getting, so it's like you're really getting rocking out. Okay. Question number 4. What is the best part of your current job?
So the best part of my current job is, again, in developing new client relationships, it's helping them get off the hamster wheel of, hey, we have this benefits plan, and we go through this open enrollment every year, and then we sit back and cross our fingers and just pray for a good renewal the next year, and we're not doing anything proactive throughout the year. So we help them get off that hamster wheel. And when we start talking about using data to tell a story of where you should actually apply your resources, specifically the budget that's allocated for benefits, it helps us together with the client make better decisions. And again, it really paints a picture of where they should allocate that. And then we're constantly measuring results, cost per employee, per employee for healthcare spend by region, by group size, looking at the two or 3 years prior of what they were spending, so we know where it's trending up, trending down, or staying level. And so all of those things to bring that to a client who's been on that hamster wheel of feeling like they can't really do anything to control their healthcare costs, that they're at the mercy of a carrier. That's really what I find when I see their eyes open and kind of the light bulb goes off. That's what I enjoy the most.
That's good, and that's a call to action, folks. It's one of the largest cost categories that we deal with, and we don't have to be passive. I like that. You need to get some data. You got to be proactive. You're gonna you measure what you monitor. You monitor what you measure. Yeah, exactly. And so you need to be looking at trends. You need to be doing something. Good reminder. And what a great time to be doing it. We're remote. You have 30 extra minutes. You're not commuting. Get in there. All right. Question number 5. What is something personal that you wouldn't mind sharing with the council that maybe we don't know about?
So since you showed the football picture, I'll go there. I actually used to have my high school's bench press record, if you can believe that. When I was 17, I bench pressed 405 pounds, and I was again, it's hard to talk about yourself, but I was a 2-time All-State offensive lineman. I went to Liberty to actually play football. Played in the East-West All-Star game in Virginia. We had like 4 or 5 guys from that game go to the NFL. So it was a lot of fun. And about a week into 2-a-days at Liberty, I actually tore my shoulder up and had to stop playing. But for the time I did play, I loved it, and I'm still a huge fan of the O-line. And I actually coached for 2 years too, so that was a lot of fun, getting in and teaching other guys technique, and really get into the trenches, if you will.
Well, that's awesome, man. You had the size for sure, and you could wear it on your frame. That's cool. You're looking slim and trim now, but well done. That's cool. And that's a perfect transition into question number 6. Last question. It happens so fast. Vince, what is something that I should have asked, but I didn't? And what is your answer to that?
So I would go with Hoosier Hero. And it's an easy answer for me. And it was my father. He grew up in a very broken home in New York City, in Queens. And so actually when he was younger, he took to the gangs in New York. He was in the gangs back in the 50s. And just to hear him talk about the gang fights and those sorts of things. And once the gangs broke up, that was when the heavy drug use moved into the neighborhood. And so he was actually a heroin addict for 3.5 years. And at the end of that, he actually became a Christian. And so he committed his life to follow Christ. And just a radical transformation that happened. From there, he went to college. Eventually, he earned his master's and doctorate. And he was actually a pastor for 40 years in Blacksburg. So it's just a radical transformation. Just it's miraculous what what really the Lord did through him. So it's definitely my hero, and I love to talk about him. Great man. He actually passed away about a year and a half ago, but just a great man.
What a great legacy, and that he was able to break the chains of maybe some poor male influences in his life, and then pass along, just break that completely and pass along a positive influence into your life, and how that generational blessings will be passed down.
That's it.
To you, to your 4 kids and their kids. That's an amazing testament, and you're lucky to have that influence in your life.
Absolutely.
Well, you're a good dude, Vincent. I know why now. You got a great dad and great books and questionable music taste. 80s music, big plus. I wrote down that exclamation mark. And then piano jazz, double question mark. Thank you, Vince, for doing this. This was awesome. It is great to get to see you. Vince is a super volunteer in the upstate. There every morning. He and Carly I never even asked. They just show up and get it done. They make it possible. I love you guys. I can't wait to have another breakfast meeting. Hopefully next month, maybe.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Thank you, sir. This was awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate you and all you're doing with the upstate.